One, two, three. Harold and Brad, Windy City Filmmakers. Harold and Brad, Windy City Filmmakers. Harold and Brad.
You're listening to the Harold and Brad Windy City Filmmakers podcast. Bonus footage.
Right. Just like that, I had this thing with Sarah Vaughan later in life, and then Chet Baker, and then a bunch of other people that she introduced me to, Clifford Brown, Roy Haynes, all these greats. And I made it a mission to see all of, because everybody was dying. And so I wanted to see everyone before they passed. Yeah. I had to go to New York and other places like that. But focusing on Chicago, Sarah Vaughan passed in 92, and she had performed last in 1990 at the Ravinia Festival in Forest Park, or Lake Forest. Wait, Forest Park. Yeah. And Highland Park? I don't know. It's but I worked there. I worked there for 5 summers as a manager in the box office, and I had started working there 3 years after she had passed.
Yeah.
And if I had been in that place, she sang in that stadium. Her spirit anointed that space. And like I was like, I could have heard her live in my life, you know? Yeah. And that's one thing I'll never get. Her, Prince, there's so many, man. Luther, I never saw Whitney. Yeah. So all these things, all these regrets were like, no, I'm going to see every motherfucker. Can we swear on this show?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, great. I was like, I'm going to see every motherfucker before they die, and fuck that, you know? So I did. I made it a mission, and I went out there. So I got to know a lot of great jazz musicians, and when I started singing with the big band in college, and then I started singing with my own combo and touring around Champaign-Urbana. And then we came to Chicago. I went to Cincinnati and danced with the Cincinnati Ballet, but I hated it, and I left and I came back here and just toured with all the local ballet companies here. And then I started singing around town with the combos here in Chicago. And I would sit in at Pete Miller's Steakhouse in Evanston. I'd go to Andy's on State Street and sit in there on Hubbard. I was going to the Green Mill. Kimberly Gordon is a dear friend of mine, and I've gotten to sing with her a couple of times. But she's incredible, and she's carrying the torch. But, you know, and one of the places that I really learned a lot at was the new apartment lounge on 79th and MLK. Okay. And
I've been there 1,000 times.
Shut up!
Yeah.
Do you know Vaughan Freeman? Have you heard Vaughan Freeman play?
Maybe, but this was always after hours. I used to bartend down at the Cotton Club.
Mira! That's so cool. Yeah. I love it when people know, because like not a lot of people, know the place. But like not a lot of people really like jazz. So it's also, that's a cool thing. But Vaughan Freeman, he is an old Chicago legend, and like he played with all of the greats. And in like when you think of iconic jazz, in that there's so many great artists whose names we don't even know because we don't invest in that history. Vaughan Freeman is one of them.
Nice.
And he was the master. He was teaching us all, and all the babies would come around to learn from him, to hear him play, and to get a chance to get up there on the bandstand with him and solo, or if you're lucky enough to sing. And so I got to sing with Vaughan a lot, and he was really encouraging me always to take another bar take another chorus, because I was scared to improvise. I was scared. I don't like scatting. I think scatting is disgusting. No, I'm just kidding. It's not disgusting. It's just, it feels forced sometimes when people do it because they feel like they have to, and it sounds cheesy to me. But when it comes up organically, like if you fuck up and forget the lines, fine. Or if it's just something that happens spiritually, then great. But like, I don't like it. But Vaughan wanted me to keep going. So he'd always force me to take another course, and I'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I would sing through it, and I ended up learning a lot from him. And he was a great teacher to me, and a really beautiful human being. And he always called me, and everybody, all the guys joke around because he always would call me Escobar.
Escobar.
Again, I've known him. I knew him for a year. He also passed away.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe 10 years ago. Oh my God. But he knew we were friends for years,
right.
This is over an 8-year relationship, and he would still always call me Escobar. And I'm sure somebody told him at one point that and I corrected it. I ended up giving up on it. But man, the new apartment lounge, it was a magical place. Some of my the other thing that keeps me connected to Chicago are the bars, and some great bars I remember we lived in Bridgeport. That's one of the places that I lived with my then roommate and now partner. And their Bernice's Lounge was on Halstead and 33rd, right next to the police station. Who doesn't love that? And it was just a local divey place where I ended up singing a lot and performing a lot of cabaret shows. And I remember for one birthday, I think it was 33. I brought in 33 of my friends to accompany me and perform different numbers.
Nice.
In this show. Yeah, so Bernice's Lounge is another place. So so jazz, dancing, acting. We didn't really talk about theater at all, or acting.
Right. Well, I was gonna ask you that. What do you think the differences are between acting in theater and acting in film?
Oh, shit. You asked the question, the $1 million question. Well, really, honestly, if we're talking straight up, it should be nothing.
I agree. Yes.
Honestly.
Right.
Honestly. Because if you're singing a fucking musical, right?
Right.
And musicals are whatever, fake and shit. No, they're not. Do whatever person's up there living. If you're a fucking donut, you're playing a donut. You're playing a sponge. You're playing a fucking sponge. That sponge has to have some fucking truth, okay?
Right.
So I don't care how dumb or smart you think the audience is. You have to play from your human dignity and your integrity. Otherwise, you should get off the stage and shoot yourself. No, I'm sorry. I don't mean that. I'm just joking.
Right.
But I liken it to, a lot of pop music. When you hear pop music and sometimes you're like, this is the worst crap I've ever heard in my life. How can you live with yourself? Who's that guy that was on The Voice or whatever, who's part of Maroon 5, whatever his name is?
Yeah. I blank on his name. Yeah.
Adam Levine?
Yeah. Adam Levine. Yeah.
So Adam Levine, I'm like, I just heard you sing that. I just heard you perform. You did that shit. That shit happened. Now, you get off the stage, you have to go and do a tour and sing that and pretend like you really feel that and believe the things that you're saying and sell yourself in that way. You have to sell so much of yourself that your soul is sold along with it. And I can feel that. I can feel the spiritual ripping of his soul in that transaction, because that's what it is. It becomes this transactional relationship. It's I give you this, you give me money. And when that happens, you lost, in my opinion, 100% of the art. Because we don't want it to be transactional. We want you to give your complete soul over, absolutely, but do it for free, God damn it. Do it for free and do it honestly. Do it with, So it should be the same. Now, obviously, there's just the room, and the room is what you play to. So if you're in a room that's 60 seats, you're gonna be performing different than if it's $2-3 grand,
Right.
So just like that, the same thing. You got a proscenium here. I'm outlining the 4 sides of my frame in the Zoom meeting. That's your proscenium. And so if you can't see them, they can't see you. So
true.
You got this frame to work with. So and that's one thing that I've learned that I'm so grateful to be an actor that has been blessed with some auditions lately, and I'm really grateful for that. And with those auditions, I feel like also that is our job, auditioning, not booking it, but auditioning is our job. And with that many auditions, you can't help but practice and get better at shit, right?
Right.
So one thing that I've learned in my film acting is the depth of the camera is that you can tell, I mean, obviously now we got the microphone, so that's going to affect what happens with my depth that way. But also, hello, welcome. You can change things and change perspective with people just by using depth.
Right.
And it tells, and you get humor and intimacy, fuck you, like we should fuck, or I'm going to kill you, like all right here up in this tight close-up. And then here, like this is the safe space of when you're talking to somebody. Usually between human beings, it's like 3 to 4 feet. And this is like that medium. Right. So like, and using that and doing and being able to play with that has been a really great thing. So I think it's different in that way, that it's just the scope has changed, the focus, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
But really, no, I don't think so.
You're listening to the Harold and Brad Windy City Filmmakers podcast. Bonus footage.
So talk about some of the happy moments for you in film, getting in front of the camera and acting. Oh,
that's a really nice question. Thank you. What a nice thing to meditate on. I would say one of the things that I really loved filming, I've loved a bunch of things like big stuff and little stuff. But like sometimes the things that I've shot that haven't even like gotten any money have been some of my greatest sources of joy. And for years, my best friend Andy Anderson Laufer and I did a show called The Game Show and Stuff. And
great show.
Yeah. You've seen that shit. Were you a contestant in it once?
No, I never was. I saw it a couple of times, so yeah.
Okay, cool. But it was a live interactive game show where we randomly selected members of the audience to compete for fabulous prizes. And it was called The Game Show and Stuff, and I was the stuff. And so some of the stuff I would do was I'd make little movies, I'd do dances, I'd sing songs, all kinds of things. And so one of the things they asked me to do one bit for one holiday show, the St. Patrick's Day show, about like a leprechaun. And I was like, nah, fuck that. I ain't no fucking leprechaun. And they're like, well, what do you want to do, Esteban? And I was like, I'm a fucking Mexican, bro. And so I did this film. I made this film. I wrote it was just a music video. I was always obsessed with music videos as a kid. And I always wanted to make my own music video. So I made my own music video. And it was to Ray Charles's It's Not Easy Being Green.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
His version of that, which, like, no offense to Kermit, but my God, Ray Charles is everything. So I did this about a Mexican who has a hard time getting through the world. And the one thing that saves him was when he discovers that his greenness is actually what makes him beautiful and not to be ashamed of it. So that was fun.
Hey, you know what? Talk about your cause. I know you started a group.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, like, my cause is the same as yours and the same as any artist and any theater performer, actor. Your trade is humanity. So that's the cause, is humanity. And our people, Black and brown people, we've seen how certain things benefit certain groups of people. And it's one thing. This is a very touchy subject for me.
Right.
But I was very upset at the rollout with the vaccine and with the way that Black and brown people have been dying from this, and nobody's taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And of course, our people don't have as easy access to healthcare and all of these reasons, all of the above. And then within my own family, it's causing, everyone's family suffered through this. None of us has been on our best behavior. It's a pandemic.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone is living through trauma right now. And then George Floyd, and then you're an actor and you're an artist, and COVID is racist against theater. Like all of these things compounding just make life so, it's been a crazy, almost crippling year spiritually. Yeah. And at times it was, and people have gone through some dark things. So families have been torn. about arguing about how best to take care of grandma, how to keep them safe, and like really wanting to hug, which I totally get, and families wanting to be together, Christmas and Thanksgiving. It was so scary and it was so dangerous, and the numbers were rising and like all of these things. So both as a like humanitarian thing, but also selfishly, because I was such a prick to my whole fucking family, where I was like, don't come near my mom. I don't care if you're flying in from Texas the day before and get tested. I don't care. Right. Stay away from my mom. You know? And so I was like that evil relative where I was like, you know, guarding elders, because we didn't even know if there was going to be a vaccine back then. Right. So because I was such a prick to everyone, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to get all these bitches vaccinated, and that will be my apology to everyone. Be like, all right, now we're all vaccinated. Now you can hug with a mask, you know, like, so it was first my offering to my family. And so I was like on it. And I got my mom, my dad, I got mis tios, I got my aunt and uncle, and then my uncle eventually got in Puerto Rico. I had a hard time getting in Puerto Rico. Right. And I just started helping people. And then my girlfriend, Anna Lopez, we met at Motorworks in Chicago, where my partner works. She's radical, just an amazing radical queer Latina woman. But she's always been working for social justice in Little Village and Pilsen, and working for the Mexicanos. And so I've always admired this woman, and she was doing the same thing I was. And we kept going back and forth and trading information. And then finally I was like, let's just put it on a fucking Facebook group. Nice. And so we started Vaccinate Abuela Chicago. And I'm very proud of the name.
Good stuff.
Because everybody knows right away like what it means. It's very targeted, you know, and we're very forthcoming to say this is about Black and brown elders, right? So that we know that we're also taking care of our Black community as well, because that was very important to both of us. So, and it's not that we would ever turn away if there's any senior that needs help, please reach out. Please reach out. It's the Facebook group Vaccinate Abuela Chicago. And we're not other groups. We're not hunters. We're not like cunning and doing that. We're really like patient and gentle and feminists. And we're all trying to talk, like, we'll do whatever you feel comfortable with. And if you want just the information and the phone number and instructions, we'll give you that. If you want to know what websites there are to go to, we'll give you that. If you are just like, hands up, I don't know what to do, and we'll talk with you on the phone to the operator and set up the appointment for you, we will do that. This is something that is being done in Indiana. You can call 211 and talk to an operator that the government pays to get this done. And it's just a social service. The one good thing, I mean, I'm a little upset with Lori, not a little upset, like I'm pissed. Okay, because so much of that COVID package did not go to these communities that were hurting from it. It went to, you know, the police.
No doubt.
And like Jesus, no more on that. Let's focus on the good. So now there's a post haste effort by Chicago to get out these little pods in the areas that we saw hardest hit with the deaths of COVID. So in Englewood, in Lawndale, in Gage Park, in other areas that have those kinds of numbers, they have done an effort where they're not doing, they're trying to get as many people as possible vaccinated in those areas to try and stamp it out, which is smart afterthought. Right. So all of those things are happening. And also, listen, straight up, there are some seniors who are uncomfortable, who just don't feel safe. Right. Plenty of Black and brown people who have a reason to not trust the government. There's that too. And I understand that. And I totally feel that. So wherever people are in their journey of getting the vaccine, if they just want information and they just we have information from the CDC, from Cook County, from the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois. We have all the information you need, and we'll point you to the resources to get you the answers that you want, or the answers that you need, not that you want. You may not get the answers you want. You most likely may not get it today. Right. But, and that's the rough thing right now for people 18 and above with no pre-existing conditions. This is the last group to go.
Right.
And so and we know it's going to happen like probably next month in April. That's probably when the gates are going to get released. But that's why it's so important right now for us to make sure that we get every single Black and Latino elder that we know vaccinated, because once they open it up, I mean, just think about the opening day on Black Friday at Walmart, right? They open up the doors, and if there was that senior standing right there, they would knock him down.
Right.
So
right.
once this rush opens, like the United Center just opened a huge rush of vaccines, and so people are jumping at the bit. If like maybe a fridge breaks down, and so there'll be emergency vaccines, and so they'll, which I hope that people can take advantage of that if that happens. But at the same time, it's like we need to be going and knocking on doors in these communities and saying like, has every senior in this household gotten their vaccination? Who needs a vaccination? In doing that. And I also hear rumor that is something that the city is trying to put together as well. So I can't knock the city completely, but Lori, I'm a knock. Ooh, girl, do not even.
So you guys, the group is people can join the group and then get information on where to go, or is that the idea?
So it works in both directions. Anna and I both post things when there's a big like openings in certain areas. If we monitor the whole feed, and so we know what questions, we know what people have asked for vaccinations in Palatine and Des Plaines and in Orland Park. Like it says Chicago, but we're trying to help as many people as we can. I help people in Atlanta, in New York, in Alabama, in California, and in Florida. So I'm and anybody anywhere in the country. Like if you got family, I just talking to a friend today, he's got family in Mississippi, whatever. It's a fucking Google search. And you know how easy that is for somebody who's has at least one good working eye. That's I can do that. I sometimes I don't understand email, but I can do that. I can do a Google search. So doing that, and then also knowing that there was a lag in between the leadership in the country, and so we won't talk about that. And then there was the lag with the distribution from federal to states, because each state mandated their own rollout. And so it's very different in each state. Like 1B workers here in the manufacturing category, if you were producing a good that was for the service. So those people got in right away. Whereas in California, even up until a week ago, it was only healthcare workers and seniors 65 and over, which that leaves out people with disabilities, people with mobility issues. A lot of Black and brown people live in multi-generational households, in these areas that have been hit by COVID really bad. So if thanks Lori Lightfoot, you open up the school and the kids have to go to school and then they come home and hug grandma, but grandma didn't get the vaccine. Ay pendeja, So yeah. I'm trying not to get angry about things because I try to live in joy and abundance.
I feel. Hey, you know what? That's about. My bad. We're out of time, but I had to ask one more extra question. I have to ask this. So we did a fantastic play together. Jesus Hopped the A Train. Mm-hmm. You had the chance to actually meet and work with Steve and Adelaide Gurgis in person. Yeah. What was that experience like? Work with them and getting to know him. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, Bradford, I wish I could have shared the entire experience with you.
Right.
But I will tell you, everything that we found in that play that we did together, everything that we believed about what people could be.
No doubt.
It's all true.
Good stuff.
All the stuff that we learned about ourselves and humanity from that play.
Right.
And everything that I thought I would find in him was there. And it's true. So that thing, that light, that hope that we found, that's what he's all about. All of his plays, every single one of his plays is offering that thing that, that we all are trying to do in this game, is say that people are human and they deserve dignity.
Right.
Hey, and you guys won awards for that, right?
We were both nominated for
Right.
for the Jeff Award.
That's right.
Both
That's
of us,
right.
the 2 stars of the play, we both got fucking yes.
You guys are
Represent.
awesome.
Good stuff. And you won it. Congratulations. Man.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
The
that was
Jefferson is like the big award here in Chicago, the biggest theater. Yeah, that's amazing.
That was very nice.
You know, we are almost out of time. So if there's anything you want to say or sing to the people,
Well, I'm gonna have to sip my tea real quick.
yeah, I'm not gonna let that go.
If I could, I like to be a great big movie star. Overnight sensation. Drive a big expensive car. You might say that all I do is dream my life away. These things I do 'cause I'm stone in love with you.
Oh, Esteban, yes.
Yeah.
You like the stylistics?
I love the stylistics.
Yeah. And when you busted out, I started to get chills. I was like,
You can blow. We should end it there, but I have one last question we always end up with, and it is, what advice would you give to a young person looking to work in the industry, be an artist? What advice would you give them?
All of the things that you were told to memorize in school. What is important is not the thing you memorize, but your opinion about that thing.
Yes. Well, I tell you what, this has been a pleasure, Esteban. I love you.
Love you, brother. I love you.
No doubt,
Thank you so much for having me. Thank
Great
you.
for
So nice to
being
meet
here.
you, Harold. Very nice to meet you.
No question.
absolutely.
Awesome. I love the show. You guys are fantastic.
Thank you much. No doubt.
Yeah.
So for Brad Stevens and
H.
this has been another edition of the Harold and Brad Show. As always, dream big, dare to be great, and we'll catch you when we catch you. Peace.
Peace.
Ooh la la. Yes.